So we're going to make today a ginger and pear upside down cake. So all I've done is really finely slice my pear and I'm just arranging them in a nice circular shape. I've also poured a little bit of maple syrup, which is going to give that gorgeous glaze, you know, when you turn these upside down cakes upside down. Just make sure your slices are nice and fine, and that's what's going to make this absolutely delicious when we turn it out. I'm sprinkling with some cinnamon and a squeeze of lemon juice over that pear. And if you slice your pear ahead of time, you could just squeeze that lemon juice over your pear to stop it from going brown. That will do nicely. And now I'm going to use this gorgeous Aussie ginger, and I've chosen the one that's less sugar. So it does have some maltitol, which is a sugar alcohol, which helps just to give that gorgeous sweetness and allows you to use less sugar. So these are a really, really good product, and they're so, so tasty. So I'm just going to chop this up a little bit. So you can eat them as is, which I have been doing, but they also work beautifully in this cake. So we're just going to scatter these nice little cubes of my ginger. These just give a nice little sort of slightly spicy tang to the cake. Okay, that looks good to me. I'll save the rest for going into the batter, and we can start to make the batter. So I'm using some wholemeal flour and adding to that some baking powder and some baking soda. And essentially, this is my go-to way of baking. You mix all the dry ingredients together, mix all the wet ingredients together, in goes my cinnamon, and then you combine them. And there's my ginger and my nutmeg going in. So that's my spices. And lastly, just a pinch of salt into my dry mix and give that a little mix to make sure it's all nicely combined together. Now, we put our wet ingredients together. So I've got a couple of eggs. And then to give the sweetness, I'm using some pureed apples. All I've done here is, with the peel on, I've just pureed my whole apple together. In that goes. We've got some vanilla extract, some maple syrup, which is one of my favourite sweeteners. I think maple syrup and honey are my two best sweeteners that I love to use in baking. And then lastly, I've just got some milk. Now, if you want this to be a plant-based milk, if you want it to be dairy-free, you absolutely can, or just use a regular dairy milk. And then just whisk that all together, and it's as simple as that. I'm going to pour this into my dry ingredients, and then combine to make our batter. Meantime, I've got my oven preheating, so I've already got it at 180. So when that's nicely combined, so don't be tempted to overmix it. And then I just want to add a little bit, because I love this ginger, I'm going to add a little bit more just to mix through this batter so we get those little sparks of ginger into the actual cake as well. That looks good to me. Okay, so just fold those through. And pour our batter onto the top of our pear. Lovely. Spread it out nice and evenly. And then this is going to go into my oven for about 40 to 45 minutes, or until the skewer comes out nice and clean. So our cake is now ready. Here is the moment of truth. So I can remove that part of it. Then just pop your plate on top and invert it. And remember, we lined the bottom of our cake tin with those beautiful pears. Now, don't lose any of those juices, just let them dribble onto the top. Now, doesn't that just look beautiful? I should mention, by the way, if pears are not your thing, you could also use apples. They work just as well. But you know, I feel like we use apples a lot, and pears are just so, so delicious on the top there. So I'm just going to cut in my slice. And remember, we put those little chunks of ginger both into the topping and then through the cake batter. So we're going to get those little hits. If I just show you, pull it out here, you see those little hits of ginger throughout my cake batter. Now, in the afternoon with a cup of tea, this is just perfect.